So when I was deciding what video to do for this channel, I wanted to pick something that would really reflect this period in time. And I thought about documenting a day in a life or something, but to be honest I don't really have anything interesting going on at all because I have no schoolwork because I was supposed to be doing A-levels, and it's just a very strange time for me at the moment. But I was thinking about if there was one thing coming that I'd want to look back on in years' time, I'd want to remember what I think God has taught me during this time and how I think He shaped me as a person. And so I just want to talk about a few things I feel like God has really taught me during lockdown, and I think a lot of other people have found this as well. And so I hope maybe you can relate to some of the things in this video, or it will encourage you that God is doing amazing things during such a scary time. So the first thing I've definitely learned during this time, and I think a lot of us will find this, is the need to slow down. I know this isn't the case for everyone because some people, like the NHS workers, are working so hard, but I think for a lot of us, all the fast-paced things of life have been stripped away, and all of a sudden we're kind of left with nothing. And a lot of us don't really know what to do in this time because we're so used to having all the distractions of the world to keep us busy, but all of a sudden we're having time to reflect. But actually it's amazing because it draws us closer to God and helps us spend more time with God. And I've definitely found that during this time that I've actually heard God speak for the first time, which I've never done before, but I think I've realised I've never really truly listened. And I think this time of isolation has helped me actually take the time to focus on God, draw near to Him, and listen to what He might be wanting to say. And I think I've learnt that when things go back to the new normal, I don't know what the normal will be yet, but I definitely need to take time out of my day to just slow down and really spend time with God and listen to what He's trying to say. The second thing I've learned is that church can go beyond the four walls. I think we've seen amazing things during this time, like the UK blessing, well, it's happened all over the world, and where churches have come together, and that's just been incredible. And I think a lot of churches are a lot more in society than they used to be, and they're mixing a lot more, and I think church is definitely represented in the people instead of just the building. And I think online church is reaching so many more people than normal church would because it's a less intimidating way for people to experience church. And I think during this time so many more people have questions about faith and just questions about what life is all about. I think having the space to think about it is definitely causing a lot more people to come to Christianity, which is incredible. And I think that I've learned that after this time there's so much more the church can do, and during times like this it's such an opportunity for the church to reach more people when people are hungry for answers, and I think that's such an exciting thing. The third thing I've learned is I think I've had a complete change in values, and I think a lot of people have. I think in the real world we can be chasing after materialistic things all the time, and now that's all been taken away from us. I think when all of the things of the world that normally keep us busy have been taken away, we realise what's really important in life, like family and our home, and not like money doesn't get you anywhere or any happiness during this time. And I think it's really helped people reassess their work-life balance, spending time with the people they love, and I think that's such an amazing thing to get out of this time. I think something God has really taught me during this time is being content with the unknown. This is definitely something I really struggle with because I just love to feel like I'm in control of my future and everything that's going on, but in reality we just can't be. And I think it's really taught me to trust God, that He has a plan, and I've really had to put all my trust in Him. With uncertain plans for next year, none of us know what the future is going to bring, and I think this is really hard that we can't control it. And I think I've just learned I have to just give it completely to God and trust Him. And this has been something that's been really difficult, and I've had days where I've just been freaking out about trying to control everything for next year and sort everything out, but I just physically can't. And I think God has really been speaking to me through this and just saying, and just showing me that I need to give it to him and that things are out of my control. And I found it really helpful as an exercise to just write down some things that I can control now and some things that I can't. And then the things that you can't, you give to God. And it just helps you, if you've got all these things in your mind, it's really helped me to focus on the right things and not fill up my mind with things that I can't control. I think this leads on to my next thing I feel I've learned, is living in the present. I think so often, especially with if you're doing exams and stuff, you're constantly thinking about the future and worried. And I think, at the moment, a lot of you might be thinking, oh no, what am I going to do about uni? And we're constantly trying to think ahead, and we always forget to just live right now. And I think at the moment this has forced us to live in the present, because you can't really look into the future because we don't know what it's going to be like. And I think it's really reminded me of the quote from Matthew, where Jesus says, don't worry about tomorrow because tomorrow will take care of itself. And this is something I've told myself over and over again, but I think it's really had to sink in during this time, that we really just need to focus on the today, and that we just need to give the tomorrow to God, and that He will take care of it. We can't control it. And I think especially with, for me, my A-levels are cancelled, and I've spent 2 years stressing about them so much, and then in the end I haven't even had to do them. And so I think it's shown me obviously you need to worry about them a bit, but I spent 2 years being fully focused on them, and then it's just been taken away. And I think it's just showed me not to worry too much about the future and just focus more on the present, because you just get you spend so much of your life worrying otherwise, but you can get so much more out of life if you just focus on what's here now and appreciate what is here now. And I think this has also been done through having time to go on more walks and spending time in nature, and just having time to do things you wouldn't normally get to do. Like for me, I've loved learning guitar and reading a lot more. I've also done a lot of DIY around the house, just doing stuff I never would have had a chance to do, but it's just helped me really appreciate now, and just I think that's been such a lovely thing during this time. So the last thing, and I think the most important thing I've learned, is that during this time of stillness, God can shape us and do incredible things. Although we're probably feeling like this is such a waste of time and there's not much we can do, God can use it. And I know it can feel like this is just pointless and you want to move on with everything else in your life, but actually God can really use this time to shape us. During isolation, I've been reading a book by Beth Redman called God Knows My Name, and she spoke about this through the story of David, and it really spoke to me about what God can do during this time. So I just want to read a bit of it. David was a shepherd because he was the youngest in his family. He was given the responsibility of the sheep, and he would spend a lot of his days just in a field. But he grew strong because he had to protect the sheep. But a lot of the time he would just be sitting in a field worshipping God, and he would just draw really close to God during a time of not much going on. And so Beth describes it as this: he did not burn with selfish ambition or struggle with resentment at his lonely and often arduous job, because his character was being moulded and shaped by heaven. He glorified God where others might have mumbled and questioned, and as David carried out his life in this way, his service and humility were like worship, and he caught the attention of God. Out of a servant's heart and godly contentment, a shepherd boy was promoted to king. God shaped his character so that one day he could shepherd God's people. She then goes on to talk about how when life seems to be dull and meaningless, and no human words of affirmation or recognition are ringing in our ears, let's capture some of David's attitude and say yes to the unseen makeover that can take place within. I just love this idea, and it just really spoke to me during this time of isolation. And it just really showed me that whatever we do, we can make it into worship for God. Whether we're doing schoolwork and we just feel like, it's so pointless, we're not getting anywhere, see it as worship to God. He's going to use this time of uncertainty and quietness to shape our character, to prepare us for what He has in store for us. And I think that's such an exciting opportunity, and it changes our mindset from lockdown being something that we're just willing to be over as fast as possible, but actually we can see it as a time for God to mould us and shape us and prepare us for what we have ahead. I hope that this has encouraged you in some way, and maybe you can relate to some of it, but I hope you're all staying safe during this time, and I hope to see some of you soon.